Dad,
But
I would drag my balls over hot coal to surf a 2 foot wave right now.
mm,
Legit. Good evening and welcome back to the Insiders podcast. It's myself, Matt, with my esteemed co-host, Darren, back again. It's a mid-episode, kind of weird week. We've not got too much going on in the surf world. Summer here in the UK and France, and G-Land's on like a million-day lay day at the moment. But we're going to bring you some good insights into some surfboard designs, and Daz has got some stuff to get off his chest. So let's crack in, Daz. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you? Surf's haggis in my part of the world. What about yours?
It's dead completely.
Surf's haggis. Surf's haggis. I went to check the surf. No, I'm lying. I didn't even get to check the surf today. I got to the pie shop. Surf shop's brother came past straight into my pie shop to tell me that it was scandalous because there was a there's a surf comp on 3 car parks in a row, which was interesting. It means that people basically could. Yeah, I think it was nearly the same comp. It was a kids comp, school comp, and I'd just been looking at a picture that got sent to me from one of my colleagues, which at one of where my partner company's got a big surf camp on the walkway to the beach. It had surf camps, welcome here, which I thought was a classic. I thought it was a classic because at the place there's not too many real locals. And if you look at my surf camp partners and our part of the business, we've only got dudes on softies in the foam and in the whitewash. I've seen it. I know it. It's nothing to do with like a local getting hassled out of a wave because these people have never even seen the waves before. And unfortunately for all of us, it's just a little bit too late to be bitching about crowds in the water. It's just like, there's crowds on the road. There's too many people on the planet. Stop having sex.
Was there any surf or not?
It was 2 foot, man. It was a kids' comp. Me and my friend, we laughed like, they can. Of course, they can do it.
Dad, I would drag my balls over hot coal to surf a 2 foot wave right now. Legit.
I did a couple of fun ones. I had a dude whinging. I quickly grabbed me funky mini mail and ran down there in my spring suit, short legs. And got 5 quick ones and then ran back up and had a meat pie. So come on. It was sunny.
Here's how bad it is here. I'm going home to see my mum this weekend to Kent, which is like the worst surf in the world. But there's apparently, I'm holding out for it.
Does Clark live there?
No. I
got it in.
Yeah, you got it in. But no, there's a wind swell that's at like 5 seconds. It's going to be absolute horseshit at best. And I'm still praying that it comes to light because I'm that desperate to just get a wave at the moment. But the good news is, I'm in Sri Lanka in 5 weeks, and in the coming weeks, everyone is going to hear about that non-stop. So you have some things to get off your chest, I guess, and some.
It wasn't necessarily things to get off your chest, but for example, before, and this is from New Generation, you said, G-Land's been on hold for like a million years, which I understand young crew have a tendency to believe that. But it only started, when did it start? The 28th.
It started when I was 21 and now I'm 30.
Okay, so it started on May 28th, which if we look at the calendar.
4 days ago.
Yeah. Now, if you've ever been on a surf trip to Indo, I've been to a few times, but I went to HTs, Lance's Rights, Hollow Trees, and man, I had 2 days of good waves, and then it went flat for 6 days, and then I had 2 days of good waves, and I didn't have any of all-time Lance's Rights. and I spent $3,000, including an extra 800 to get home because there was a problem with the speedboat, and I had to change my flights, and I had no money and a kit. And what they're doing at the moment is what millions of surfers have done since the dawn of Indo time, and that's just waiting for the swell gods to come on, and that's just fucking it. It's not like a machine. You don't just switch it on.
Yeah, but why? What?
And for people that don't like it, follow tennis.
Follow
tennis, because surfing, you need to wait.
I know it's part of surfing.
Follow tennis.
At the same time, the day before.
Yeah, but that was the day before. I should have been here yesterday, Matt.
But why can't they be more flexible and run it? Surely there was, surely, I don't know. They're there. Like everyone was there.
They weren't there.
No one turned up on the day.
So they got permits because the thing starts on the 28th, and there was like probably guests on the island already that want to surf on the 27th because they had booked.
Well, fingers crossed you're right, and that it's going to go lay day, and then it's going to cook.
It'll run. It won't be, I don't know if it'll cook. It'll be what it is. So it'll be better than trestles.
While we're talking about it quickly then, like...
It'll be better than trestles, don't you think?
Depends on trestles. Last year I thought trestles was incredible. I can't hate on the swell delivered on that day, and I thought it was very, very good. I think it'll be better than the Manly comp. And it's...
Well, there you go.
And it's 1,000,000% better than them being back at Kelly's wave pool. So you've obviously travelled out there a bit. Obviously, like you say, you've been to HTs and
I haven't travelled out there a bit, but I've been to Indo 3 times. I went to Bali and 4 times. Bali, then I went to West Java for a month, then I went to Bali and Nusa Lombok again, and then I went to HTs. And maybe the best ever day I had in Indo was my first day there with my older brother. And, sometimes you score and sometimes you don't. But these guys already on their first day, they've got good waves. They're going to finish it. It's just that I think people have a tendency to think too much. They get sucked in too much to marketing and say, okay, look, this is a video. You got like 99 out of 100 chance to not get that.
Do you think
to not get it? You know what I mean? Not to get it, to not get that, because that was the day of days.
Do you think it's a little bit dangerous when they say like before G-Land started? If we talk about G-Land, there was a lot of marketing coming up to it, saying like they're going back to G-Land where the Dream Tour started.
It's a lot of danger in it.
Back to the '97 event where they had 14 10s in one day. Do you think it's like a danger of overhyping it?
Of course there is. It's the same sort of danger of people on Instagram saying how great life is, and then all of a sudden you break your knee, or people try and have babies, and then the shit hits the fan in tragic ways. It's you've got to keep things closer to your chest, but they're a business and they're just trying to sell.
A bit like I
didn't even read their bullshit, and I was still excited because they could have got swell.
Yeah. It's a bit like the Instagram thing. You're 100% right on. It's a bit like the We Are the Joneses effect, where you see someone who you think's living the perfect life, and then you try and copy them, and you get yourself in loads of trouble as well. So
there you go. But you didn't enjoy the first day you saw?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Well, there you
go. That's already one day.
We'll do a full breakdown on it, but on the full breakdown, we probably won't spend too much time talking about day one by the time that comes around. So,
okay, let's quickly talk about day one, where we were both, we said, like, Ethan surfed well and Steph surfed well.
Yeah. Ethan, like, blew my mind. Like, how smooth he was.
Yeah, because it's talent. I said that to you. Talent.
Seriously good. He's
talent's talent.
Every time I watch him surf, like, bear in mind, I love how he surfs. Every time I watch him surf, I like him more and more and more.
Saturday and Sunday, Matt, are calling, and this could be wrong, but it's offshore and 4 to 6 foot. So
let's get it in.
I mean, honestly, for most people watching it, they'd probably prefer that than big L barrels because a lot of people actually just want to see turns and stuff. So let's hope there's a bit of both.
Should we get a flight out there? Go and do it on the ground report?
Oh, man. Well, I wouldn't go there, but I'd go somewhere if I could. I'm going next year. What did you think? What did you think? And this is one thing I want to talk about. What do you think that people kind of just get all giddy when they see pros have a bit of a party? Do you think or not?
Oh yeah,
We just get all giddy. Well, I mean, no one cares about people. People are having parties every week in a bar.
I'm really conflicted on it because I loved seeing it when I was seeing the pros there, but hate to like name drop and stuff. But Ryan Miller, who I know is a friend of the pros, he's a photographer. It just felt so cringy when I saw his post on it. Is it like because it was almost like you had all the athletes and they were like they all
Hey, Matt. Let's call them surfers, not athletes, please.
Oh, yeah, so you had all of the surfers, and they're all in the same boat, kind of thing. They're all competing and they're all there. And then you had like this photographer, and it was almost like he had to make sure he was in the photo himself. And I just kind of cringed out at it. Plus, I also think like, you know, in the videos, I watched them and stuff. You watch them quite closely. There's people that are missing, especially quite a lot of the female. Like in the videos, I've not seen one video where Carissa Moore's there. I've not seen one video where Lakey's there.
Of course not, because they're not there on piss.
But I did think it was sick. I did really enjoy the fact that you see Medina, Felipe. But again, you see Medina, Felipe, Jadson Andre, Yago Dora, 4 Brazilians. Where's Italo? He's the one that doesn't connect with those Brazilians. And all the
but he might want to win the comp instead of just
but fuck that. Just like watch Medina. Medina will win it, and he'll be hungover. But I have to say that Dimitri Stoyle is the greatest human. Shimmy Disco is.
Let's hope she comes to the cafe for a bit of disco when she's in France.
Her and Laura Enever. I want to be best mates with those two. I'm going to put an application in.
Yeah. Just get your wife to sign off on it.
Oh, she's fine, mates. I'm not going to be, Look
at that. I just think that the forecast still, and that's like all. That's why I like this thing, man. It's not because I just want to keep thrashing the bag about G-Land or anything else, but all surfers love looking at forecasts. Now here we want to watch it. It's like, I guess, for some gridiron or American football player or a rugby league player or all these other different sports, they just can't wait for the grand final. And for us, a grand final is pumping Indonesian or Hawaiian waves. And we had a chance at it and we might not get our grand final. So it's anxious.
Surfing is always that, isn't it? It's always, with surfing, there's always but what if? And that's the addiction to it.
We had a 1 or 2 foot swell predicted for yesterday with 14 seconds. It was like 1 foot. Now, sometimes that's 4 to 6 foot here with a period, and sometimes it's like it was, which was 1 foot. And every 20 minutes, a 2 foot set. And people, it's just so hard to pick. I don't know if any of us will ever be able to pick it, and maybe that's a good thing.
I think that's the beauty of surfing.
And not even maybe, of course it's a good thing, isn't it?
That's the beauty of surfing. It's why, like, you can't get a definitive, was that, like, you could ask anyone listening to this right now, you may have caught the best wave you'll ever catch, or every time you surf, the next surf after could be when you catch the best wave you ever catch. You never ever will know.
So here's one, and it'll help us like transition straight out of comp in Indoland to a thing I saw on Stab, which is the Yeppoon wave pool in North Queensland, which is basically that big
sucker.
What would you call it? Yeah,
plunger.
It looks plunger. the plunge wave. So they've created a slab, correct? You saw it? Now, when I look at this, what I think is funny is that I think nearly the only people really that can handle this wave, even myself included, I wonder, are the guys that they had surfing it who don't pay.
Ryan Cannon. Yeah.
They don't pay. You understand? Any other dude, and there's plenty of good surfers that can handle that thing. Are they going to pay to go to that for that sort of thing? Or are they going to pay to go to save their money to go to Indo or to go to Hawaii or to go to South America? I just think,
especially how cheap it is from Australia,
I just think that's
the other thing I thought.
These guys wasting money. Obviously, it's showing like their technology's good, but what do they think? Do they think like that guys like I know, like if they're listening to Mick or Juzzy and that who got kids or whatever, or even young dudes who've got time, they're thinking, okay, I'm not gonna do a month in West Java. I'm going to go to Yeppoon, or I'm going to go to the wave pool plunger.
Yeah, see, the other thing I thought about it with it, because
your average surfer, dude, he's not going to be able to even come close to making the drop there. So what does he care about it?
Well, do you know what? That's the other thing I thought about is, so I said it in previous episodes, you're yet to go to a wave pool. When I've been to Bristol, the one thing that I didn't ever calculate for that you actually see on the bigger settings and the better settings is after the first couple of waves, and you don't ever see this on anyone's clips, after wave 3, 4, so much water is moving and getting sucked about. It's actually really rippy. And that's on small pools and they're cornered. This pool, it's actually Oki's pool, isn't it? But the pool with the plunger.
No, he's probably just got a couple of bucks in it, even if they just put his name on for marketing.
But it's a massive pool. And I think that the way that works is, as much as that takeoff looks pretty difficult and that slab setting looks pretty difficult, there's going to be to be in position for it with that much water in that pool. I think there'll be rips all over the shop. So an average surfer would probably, even in a pool, struggle to be in the takeoff spot that they'd need to be as well, especially if you were 4th or 5th or 6th in the lineup, because you've got to wait until not wave 1 goes through, but wave 6 goes through.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that'll work. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was like the technology is interesting, but it looks very it looks like it's nowhere near polished.
No, well, still they're whacking a whole lot of money into it, and I just think that they're putting their money into the wrong thing. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's what it's at. Creating a slab at a wave pool as opposed to potentially something long with. Is this thing ever even run for the public?
Not yet. It's not open.
How much money is getting sucked into this thing?
I have no idea. No idea.
I mean, it's just wasting the environment and our money on something that's just fucking ridiculous. Anyway, let's move it right along.
Well, so let's move along. Let's chat a little bit board design wise. I wanted to chat to you. We done the mid-length episode, which went down really, really well, and I thought was a good topic. We're going to do a longboard episode, but I'm going to get a little special. Well, not a little because he's giant, but I'm going to get a special guest to help out with that one because he knows longboards better than me and you do. But let's talk classic fish.
The old fish, which I had a look at a few today for someone.
Yeah. So I'm talking like the classic, really flat, wide, deep fishtail, not the cheetah versions, not the Lost Round Nose Fish 96, which isn't a fish, or the Cali Twin, or even boards like, I'm not even talking like the MR style kind of, what's this called, the Super Fish or something, Super Twin. I'm talking like...
Yeah, the Super Twins, Let's be honest. It's not a
performance.
fish, huh?
No, I'm talking like real, like Album Sunstone, Christiansen, Chrisfish, like the Son of Cobra Classic Twin, like boards like that, that, you know, are, I think, so the reason I wanted to chat about it actually was to help, if I help anyone, if I help one person or 10 or however many, that'd be great. I think, and I see, so let me just explain. I think they're misconstrued, and I think that people get them wrong in terms of
Oh, they sure do.
I think they get them wrong in how they size them and where they surf them. And what was my catalyst of wanting to discuss this with you was the Craig Anderson clip in System Is Yours, because he has a tiny little 5.2 or 5.3, I think it is, Ryan Birch, and it's in a giant wave and he's going super quick. And I think most people will say, why is he on that board in that wave? But actually, I don't think he's miles away from being on the right board in the right waves.
Who was that again?
Craig Anderson.
Okay, where?
On the System Is Yours edit.
Yeah.
It's like his second clip, and he's on this tiny little board, and it's like sunset, and it looks amazing. He does have the same board is on the boat trip. He goes on a boat trip. This clip came out maybe a year and a half ago, called The Stab Innocence, and he's on the boat trip with the Groms, and he takes his boards out, and he's got a little board out there, and it's the same twinny.
Okay, I mean, he likes doing that. He's a good surfer, and obviously he's had too much time surfing, because that's basically what it does to you. If you look at Kelly, if these guys that have had too much time surfing that, to make things more interesting, or to steal WSL adjective spicy for themselves, they'll challenge themselves on a board that's not adapted to the wave.
Yeah.
And that's all it's not all I'll say, but that's my dead set opinion on what that is.
So if someone came to you and said, like, I want to surf this classic fish, where shall I surf it? What style of surf shall I be surfing it in, and stuff? What would you be saying?
If it was a classic fish, you'd be saying like a long, medium to soft sort of point break. That's what I would have said. I mean, they were developed in California, which were kind of long, softer waves where you're looking to generate speed because you've got a wide tail. Saying that, we watched, what was his name? Ryan Birch do some of the best surfing ever in Chile. But if you look at that as well, that was overhead, but it was a long wave as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Because if you're in a short, punchy Indonesian or perfect wave, you're looking at controlling speed, or you should be looking at controlling speed, because there's so much speed. So why do you need more speed?
Yeah. So I agree. I think what I would like to kind of say, so there's two kind of big misconceptions, is that, and the major one is that the difference between a classic fish of this style and a groveler. Now, a groveler, in my opinion, is something that's made to make the most of those short wave period, mushier or punchier waves, but they're just messy, and you have to grovel and you have to grind and work. Whereas a classic fish, yes, a 5.4 might pack in 30 litres, but it's super flat with the way the fins are set up, that it's not going to grovel. So that's for me one of the big pet hates I have, is when people go, oh, I want to buy this as a groveler. I'm like, nah. I 100% agree with you that you would ideally put it in like a medium size, medium power point break, basically, but something that allows you a bit of a rolly takeoff rather than a hollow takeoff. So I think for me, that where I fall with it is they're definitely not grovelers.
I mean, I've got a girl, for example, today, right? This is one of our guests from last year, Zoe. She's from Switzerland. I don't think she listens to the podcast, but she could. And if she does, how you going, Zoe? She really got hooked on surfing. I think she'd come before last year, I'm not sure. But she stayed 3 weeks, really into it. Since then, she's been to Portugal. She's been back here a few times. Last weekend was 4 to 6 foot, and even in conditions that young Matt there might have been a bit hesitant. So he was she was out there like going surfing and everything. And now she's like, look, I keep hiring boards. I want to buy a board. What do you think? I was thinking she surfed the 6'2". Up until that, she'd been surfing longer, and it was 38 litres. I looked at it later, it was an egg. She was thinking, I was thinking about getting a fish. And I said, so Zoe, you're in Europe, you're basically not going to surf just in summer. She said, no, you want a kind of an all-rounder. A fish is not an all-rounder. For many years, people kind of thought they were all-rounders. Now you can have a swallowtail, a wide swallowtail thruster, which can work as an all-rounder, but it's not a fish, is it? It's not a retro fish. Whereas in a big wide tail, whether it's a thruster or a twin, it's just going to go really fast. Now, the day that you surf bigger waves, and we're going to have it all the time, if anyone's coming to France, you're going all the time. So it's not a fish. A fish is for generally small, fun waves that you're looking to generate speed. And don't look at what a pro is doing, because they're trying to test themselves.
I agree. I also think that there's the funny thing about those fish boards is they're difficult to surf. You also have to surf them with the right technique. I kind of see people on thrustery, hybridy type boards, and I see them doing what I call cheat turns, where they're not turning off of a rail. They're pretty much just sliding the fins, but the board's really, really flat. And you can't do that on. So the flip side is the classic twin. I had one, and it actually really helped my surfing in terms of technique of actually not moving your body too much and leaning on your rails and using your rails and your weight rather than just sliding boards out. So I think that
you got to completely surf them different. And saying that, it's like what you just said. That's completely true. Like surfing all different sorts of boards is fantastic for your surfing. But like what I was saying, that's just a little bit different to compare. And it would happen where people are looking for to buy a sort of board where, like fish, I would say get a fish. They're fantastic, but don't get it as an all-rounder, or don't get it as a good wave board.
It's not a one-board quiver. It's not
a good wave board.
No.
It can work as a good wave board, but it's not. Even our good friend Dane said it in his last interview, didn't he? He said if he's in good waves, he doesn't want to be on his neck beard.
Yeah.
Because it's not adapted.
No. And that's the whole point of kind of breaking this down as well. And that
it's like people that would take a fish to G-Land now. Okay, Brian Birch, let's name like 5 or 6 world-class goofy footers who will absolutely tear the house down on a fish in G-Land.
Well, Craig, Ryan Anderson.
Because they're world-class.
Yeah, Craig Anderson, Ryan Birch. You've got... who's that goofy foot that's really, really good? Going front side, there's the guy Victor Bernard or whatever. He's super good. He's the guy who's been riding some albums. He's a little bit underground, but he's sick.
What? Who?
Let me just check his surname. His first name is Victor Bernard, I think it is.
Yeah, I've watched a bit of him.
Is it Bernard or is it Bernard or Bertrand or... It's annoying me now. What is his name? Bernard. Yeah, Victor Bernard.
Yeah.
But he's a natural foot, but he is super talented and stylish. So he would rip one apart. But like you see Asher Pacey and Victor and Josh Kerr and Mackenzie Bowden, like the album team, they all ride the Sunstone, which is Album's version of that board. And they're not surfing it in small waves. They're just surfing it in long waves where speed is
long
key,
waves.
And you're taking high lines.
And you can do all sorts of stuff on long waves.
Yeah. But when you notice it and when you watch them, and also definitely when you surf it, is the technique of surfing these boards is different to riding a short board. Yeah.
What's your favourite looking fish on the market?
What is my favourite fish? What's my favourite looking fish? So I've seen a couple of absolute world class. So standout, you won't find it on the market, but Fipsy made my mate Ryan, who you've met,
The dish.
the dish, but he tweaked it to be more classic because I've got a dish which is a bit more performance.
Wood dish.
Yeah, tweaked dish, and he made it like really short and fat. It was crispy and crispy.
That could be one of the best names ever. A tweaked dish.
Yeah, it was. It looked sick. He got it in a mental resin tin. Fipsy's a genius as he is, and he loves that board. So that's one of the best I've seen.
Fish.
I've seen a couple of album sunstones that I've tucked under my arm. That the balance on those just feels incredible. And I actually got to see there's some weird ones, I've seen a Ryan Lovelace side cut keel fin, like twin thing, and I didn't really like the look of it, but it's surf good. And the guy in England who I kind of vouch for, John Alero Surfboards, he's made one, and I fortunately got to see it in a coffee shop local to him that he had a couple of boards in, and that was a real cool board. But I would say that the Fipsy, having seen Ryan surf the Fipsy and having had a go on an Alvin Sunstone, they're the two that stand out for me. What about yourself?
I mean, I saw a lot of channels back in the day, the channel retrofish, because when we had the license, and I had one of the quad fish. What did they call it? They call it the quad fish. It was a CI. It was the quad, and it went insane front side, and I don't have this right sort of lefts here to surf it, and
they are way harder going backside.
They're just so temperamental, man. It's just as much as I see fantastic surfing on them. I mean, like, you just really got to go to a place, and if you look at the world of really good long point breaks, everyone in the world wants to go there, so they're so crowded, so you don't end up going there anyway.
There are some that you can go and hunt down and get and score.
Where?
I'm not gonna say, because then they'll be blown up. We have millions of people listen. Millions of people listen to this on the poddy.
Viewers, there's a couple of these sick, like, point breaks just east of East Wittering.
Yeah,
but just please don't post any pictures.
No geotagging.
Obviously, the Mark Richards retro twins are cracker, because he tweaked the fish so that it would actually perform in places like Hawaii and everywhere else. But
yeah,
I mean, I've so moved on from the fish in my life, because I listened to Gracie, who's older than me. He said, "Look, Daz, we tried that, and it didn't work."
I think they work. I think they've got a place in the quiver. I would say that they are
in the quiver.
Yeah, exactly. They're definitely a lot.
Have it in the quiver. Don't have it in the car.
I would say they're definitely a luxury addition to a quiver, because they're not necessarily needed. But I actually found that my technique and understanding of other boards greatly improved after surfing a classic fish for a while.
I think you'll get a better understanding and surfing of the wave by surfing a single fin, which I don't have in my quiver at all either. Just because you can't surf the wave instead of surfing the board. But they're just not.
That's another episode. I surf.
We'll get to that episode, but either way, I don't have one in my garage either.
Surprisingly, I've got a Fipsy single fin. I've got a Fipsy for every occasion.
Surprisingly, Alex Zirk, who's a charging German dude, lives on north Tenerife, who paddles into 15 to 20 foot left bombs, has a 9.6 or a 10.0 single fin.
Hell, man.
And yeah, but like single fin, where most other people would say it's crazy because they want hold with the extra fins on the face. But anyone can seem to, and so many different surfers in the world seem to have an affinity. It's a nice adjective, isn't it, Matt? With a certain shape, fin set up, and that's what makes the sport so enticing.
Intriguing.
Is that the word? Intriguing.
Everything.
Appealing is what I was looking for. Appealing, because then we're not all just a bunch of sheep.
True. What? Well, I think I hope that's helped people cover off a bit about the classic fish and some options out there and stuff. Moving on from this, I wanted to introduce something new to our poddy, and I think it's going to be a cracker.
Gastric.
Not quite, but it's a take on the Dazzler disasters, but I want to call it confession session.
I haven't had a
disaster for a while.
Probably 48 hours.
Jesus. But I want to introduce confession sessions to the insiders. This is where we can, or if people want to message in, you can confess to something you've seen or something you've done that is funny or kooky or.
I hope we're not copying.
Not a surf sin. It's not a surf sin. Yeah.
I hope we're not copying anything. I hope we're not being Jimmy Joinings.
No, what it is it's more like I feel like I don't want to. I'm not giving.
More like what? Spanking off over a new.
No, it's more like
grandmother walks in on you.
No, it's more like, right. So here's a confession.
I apologise for all nuns listening.
Yeah, here's a confession that isn't my own, but this is something that happened that I think is funny and needs to get off my chest.
I don't know about that. It isn't your own, but we'll let you disown it.
It's not mine, and I got photo evidence that it's not mine. If anybody wants it, I work at a surf shop. We had a guy working for us. He no longer works for us, but he was working for us, and he surfs. And he told us he was a surfer and all of this, but he wasn't really local to our spot, so none of us had seen him surf. And then he told us he was going to the wave pool, which is great, and everyone was like chatting to him about how he's going to the wave pool, blah blah blah. And then he posted some pictures of him surfing the wave pool. And what stood out like a sore thumb was that he had his leash on his wrong leg, which was great and quite funny.
Like, everyone can make a simple mistake.
Yeah. So we then asked him about it, and he told us it was on purpose. And I was like, okay, there's a couple of people who do that. It's weird, but fair enough. Except for he then went back to the wave pool a week later, and pictures emerged, and he's got his leash on the correct leg. So that was something. That's an example of something that you see and you go, do you know what? I've got that story. I'm gonna lock it in, and confess. So I'm confessing for him. It's okay to be weird, and it's also okay to mess up. When I first went surfing, here's a flip side of that. Here's my confession.
Actually, it's more than understandable to be weird on this planet.
Definitely. When I first started surfing, here's one that I will submit for myself. No, I didn't do that. There's many things I've done, and I can add to this every single week. But I went surfing with Ryan, my friend Ryan, and my friend Jack, Silent Jack. I mentioned him a lot. It was
RJ.
Yeah, New Year's Day. Me and Ryan had got into our wetties at home. Jack hadn't. We thought it was clever. New Year's Day in the UK, southeast, it was in Broadstairs, cold, super cold. I had a 3-2 O'Neill Reactor, one of the O'Neill's entry level suit, 3-2. I had 5mm boots on and had 3mm gloves.
Was it a challenge?
No, that's all I had. I hadn't researched things.
Middle of winter.
Jumped in.
How long you last?
Less than 3 minutes. We got down to the sea, in, and then back out and next to the car before Jack had got. And Jack literally shut the door and was in his wetsuit. And he was in the same suit as me. He was in a 3-2. We had the same kind of gear, like in terms of thickness and stuff.
So when you bought it, he bought the same one.
I genuinely thought
just
I was
went into
gonna
the
have
shop
summer.
together and bought the same weddy at the same time.
Actually, I actually said, because they were like 70 quid each at the time, and I said, I'll give you 100 quid if I buy two. And he said, yeah.
They pulled it off.
But I thought I was getting hypothermia. I could barely talk. I was getting pain in my lower back. And if you was watching me from afar, that's the kookiest thing. Like, we was in the water for 3 minutes. Didn't catch a wave.
I can then, I don't know, let's have this one replace do's and don'ts this week. I remember I went for this guy called Wall, one of my best mates. He could tear the lip off any wave you'll ever see, really talented surfer. It was November, and it was like our second year ever in France. I think so. We were inexperienced, and it was about 2 to 5 foot is a good broad number with northerly wind. So we got in at Estanio, which is right near where I work now, and we got washed down to Kunu. It's a good 200 meters easy, and it was like maybe 4 degrees with high wind chill, northerly wind, and we had to run back to Estanio car park and like was walking, no booties. We had no booties because we were done.
All right.
And like it was like walking in glass.
Yeah.
And Chase, whilst just started running in front of me, because by running it was the same pain, but you just got it over with quicker. So I was trying to run behind him and holding onto the board. Your hands got like it was heavy. I think it was one of the heaviest things I've ever done. We got back to the car and I had to classic 3 or 4 minutes to twist the key to open the door because your fingers are numb. And then we just got in and started the car up and put the feet heat. And like we're lying on the road with our feet up over into the car under the feet heat for like maybe 10 minutes.
To get chilblains.
We're probably in 3-2s too, I reckon. No booties. Man. And that was when we used to switch and say, like, you should wear a 3-2. You can wear a 3-2 in booties here in November because the actual wind chill and the air temperature's colder than actually what the water is.
Yeah.
Like getting from the car to the beach is what will get you.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Thank fuck it's summer. Hey, Matt, and we're watching G-Land. And I'm going to say good night, you.
And you're getting waves and we're
fucking
not.
Champion.
Yeah, we'll be back as soon as G-Land's finished. We got a special little local, some East Wittering heavy hitters are going to come on with Daz and do a rundown. And then we got more and more. And speak soon. Go on.
Love you, listeners.
Yeah, we do. We've got more coming, and thanks so much.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.